WannaCry. In May 2017, computers across the globe suddenly began to lock without warning. Displays turned black, important files became encrypted, and a red ransom note replaced everything on the screen. The message demanded payment in Bitcoin and set a strict deadline. This attack was known as WannaCry, also called WannaCrypt 0R, and it became one of the most devastating cyber attacks ever recorded. WannaCry spread on its own by exploiting a weakness in Windows operating systems. It moved automatically from one machine to another, infecting entire networks in a matter of hours. Hospitals, schools, businesses, and even government institutions were impacted, forcing many to shut down critical operations. After entering a system, WannaCry encrypted documents, images, and other files, making them completely inaccessible. A countdown timer warned victims that their data would be permanently deleted if payment was not made in time. Even then, paying the ransom did not guarantee file recovery. What made WannaCry especially dangerous was its silent spread. Many computers were infected without any action from the user. Systems that lacked recent security updates were the most exposed, allowing the virus to move rapidly through outdated networks and leave widespread disruption behind. The outbreak only began to slow when a cybersecurity researcher discovered a hidden kill switch embedded in the code. By that point, hundreds of thousands of systems in over 150 countries had already been compromised. You are an idiot. In the early 2000s, an unusual and highly irritating piece of malware surfaced online with a blunt name: "You are an idiot." Instead of staying hidden, it was designed to dominate the user's screen and make itself impossible to ignore. Typically triggered by visiting a malicious website, the malware instantly began spawning endless pop-up windows. Each window showed flashing visuals, smiling faces, and the repeated taunting message, "You are an idiot." Closing one window caused multiple new ones to appear, quickly overwhelming the desktop. As these pop-ups multiplied, they consumed memory and processing power. Computers slowed dramatically and in many cases became completely unresponsive. Users often had no choice but to restart their systems to regain control. However, restarting did not always solve the issue. Certain versions used scripts that reactivated the attack upon startup, trapping users in a loop of crashes and forced reboots. Although it did not steal information or encrypt data, its relentless behavior made it extremely disruptive. I love you. In May 2000, the I love you virus began spreading through email. It arrived with the subject line, "I love you," and included an attachment titled love-letter-for-u.txt.vbs, a Visual Basic script disguised as a simple text file. Once opened, the script executed immediately and started replicating itself throughout the system. It overwrote images, documents, and other important files, replacing them with copies of the malicious script. At the same time, it accessed the user's address book and automatically emailed itself to every contact it found. This allowed the virus to move rapidly from inbox to inbox without further interaction. Rather than exploiting advanced software vulnerabilities, I love you relied on human emotion and curiosity. Because the message appeared personal, many recipients opened it without hesitation. Within days, millions of computers were infected. Organizations were forced to shut down email servers and disconnect networks to limit the damage. At the time, security systems were not prepared for large-scale email-based malware, making the attack highly effective. In early 2004, MyDoom emerged and quickly became one of the fastest-spreading computer worms ever observed. Unlike traditional viruses that required user interaction, MyDoom was built to distribute itself automatically through email and network connections at unprecedented speed. Once inside a system, it searched for stored email addresses in files, contact lists, and cached data. It then sent copies of itself as email attachments, often using generic or deceptive subject lines. Because these emails appeared to come from legitimate contacts, many users opened them, further accelerating its spread. MyDoom did more than quietly replicate. It drained system resources, slowed performance, and caused noticeable instability. Infected machines often froze or showed unusually high network activity. One of its most damaging features was the use of infected computers to conduct large-scale DDoS attacks. These attacks overwhelmed targeted websites with massive traffic, temporarily shutting down major online services and demonstrating how malware could function as a powerful cyber weapon. At its peak, MyDoom is estimated to have caused approximately $38 billion in global damages, making it one of the costliest cyber attacks in history. It also created a backdoor in infected systems, allowing remote access without the user's knowledge, further expanding its potential for harm. BonziBuddy. During the early 2000s, a program called BonziBuddy appeared on many home computers. At first glance, It seemed like a harmless virtual assistant meant to help users browse the internet, tell jokes, and perform simple tasks. BonziBuddy greeted users at startup, offered suggestions, and even sang songs. Its animated character and playful voice made it appear friendly and entertaining. However, beneath this cheerful design, the software collected personal information, monitored browsing activity, and displayed intrusive advertisements. It could slow systems down and install unwanted programs. Although marketed as a helper, many classified it as malware due to its aggressive data collection and interference with normal computer operations. BonziBuddy also became known for its persistence. Even after removal attempts, leftover files and settings could remain, affecting performance. Eventually, antivirus programs identified it as malicious, and its popularity declined rapidly. Petya ransomware, identified in 2017, operated differently from most ransomware threats. Instead of encrypting individual files, it targeted the master boot record, effectively taking control of the entire operating system. After infection, the computer would reboot and display a fake disk check screen. Shortly after, a skull graphic appeared with flashing colors and instructions prompting the user to press a key. Only then did the ransom message appear, explaining that the system was fully encrypted and demanding Bitcoin payment for recovery. Petya primarily spread through malicious email attachments, infected documents, and exploited network vulnerabilities. It was capable of moving quickly across connected systems, locking entire networks and blocking access to critical data. Rather than selectively encrypting files, Petya seized control of the entire system, making recovery extremely difficult without proper backups. Businesses, organizations, and infrastructure systems were affected, often losing access to essential programs and information for extended periods. MEMZ first appearing in 2016, MEMZ became known as one of the most chaotic forms of malware ever created. It was not designed for financial gain or data theft. Instead, it demonstrated how completely a system could be manipulated. Typically downloaded and executed by users themselves, MEMZ displayed 2 clear warnings before running, stating that severe system damage would occur. Despite these alerts, many users proceeded out of curiosity. Once activated, MEMZ triggered a sequence of escalating disruptions. Random pop-ups appeared. Windows moved on their own. Screen colors inverted, and unexpected system sounds played. As the attack progressed, keyboard input became unreliable, and standard commands stopped functioning correctly. The malware intentionally layered these effects, gradually making the computer nearly impossible to control, while still technically operational. In its final stage, MEMZ overwrote the master boot record. After this occurred, restarting the computer rendered it completely unusable, permanently preventing access to the system.